There's a reason people call INFJs peaceful, gentle, and endlessly understanding. They're the friend who listens all the way through, the partner who reads the room before anyone else, the coworker who keeps things steady when everything feels chaotic. But when an INFJ is wounded, the reaction isn't loud. There's no dramatic scene. No slammed doors. No flurry of texts. On the surface, nearly nothing changes, same calm expression, same measured voice, same steady presence. And yet, underneath that still water, deep currents begin to move. If you don't know what to watch for, you'll miss the moment everything shifts. INFJs don't process pain like most people do. They rarely snap back in the moment. They don't unload on the person who hurt them. They don't always have the words right away, and even if they do, they often choose silence over conflict. That quiet isn't emptiness, it's a working silence, thoughts rearranging, emotions sorting themselves, meaning taking shape. Pain doesn't bounce off an INFJ. It sinks in. It gets examined. It gets translated into patterns and lessons. And while the outside world assumes they're fine, the reality is that INFJs are often hurting the most when they look the most composed. This isn't just about a bad day or an awkward conversation. This is about what unfolds inside an INFJ's inner world when a cut goes deep, when trust is bent, when loyalty wobbles, when something sacred is mishandled. The mistake most people make is assuming the lack of reaction means the lack of impact. The opposite is true. When an INFJ doesn't react outwardly, they're usually doing the heaviest work inwardly. They protect their dignity by stepping back. They protect the relationship by refusing to escalate. They protect their heart by tucking it behind the quiet. Why does this matter? Because INFJs don't stay in the pain as the same person. Their hurt refines them, sometimes into warmth seasoned with wisdom, sometimes into distance wrapped in peace, and sometimes into a final goodbye delivered without fanfare. If you care about an INFJ, understanding these invisible shifts isn't optional, it's essential. In this video, we're going to walk through the hidden responses almost no one notices when an INFJ is hurt. Not guesses, patterns. Not accusations, insight. By the end, the silence, the space, and the subtle changes will make sense in a way they probably never have before. The first thing that happens is almost always disappearance. Not a disappearance designed to punish, but a quiet retreat. Messages answered slower. Less eye contact. Fewer questions asked in a conversation. They still show up to dinner, but their presence feels lighter, like the volume of their energy has been turned down. It's not a stunt and it's not a game. It's oxygen. INFJs step away because they need room to breathe, to slow their pulse, to stop the spinning reel of the painful moment and look at it with steady eyes. They rarely announce this pause. No, I'm taking a break, no manifesto. Just a soft fade into lower bandwidth. During that pause, something profound happens. The INFJ starts replaying the moment that hurt, frame by frame. Was it a misunderstanding or a message? Was it a one-off or a pattern? Is this person safe or simply familiar? They'll think about tone, timing, context, and intention. And here's the tough part, the longer that quiet lasts, the more the emotional walls begin to set. It's like wet cement hardening. Every day without repair makes returning harder. Sometimes they come back fully, honest talk, apology received, bond restored. Other times, the return is partial, cordial but not close. And sometimes, they don't return at all. If you've ever heard, "She just cut me off for no reason," and you knew she was an INFJ, there was a reason. You just didn't see it forming. The next shift is inward. Most people point outward when they're hurt. INFJs often turn the lens on themselves. It's not theatrics, it's an instinct. They ask, did I miss a sign? Did I expect too much? Was I unclear? Am I overreacting? Their intuition scans for meaning, and their care for harmony nudges them to carry more of the blame than they should. When the wound comes from someone they trusted, a friend they finally opened up to, a partner they let inside their inner circle, the self-doubt lands even harder. Because INFJs don't casually let people in, a betrayal of that trust doesn't just crack the relationship, it shakes the floorboards of their self-belief. This isn't self-pity. It's self-interrogation. INFJs chase understanding because meaning is how they heal. If they don't get an honest explanation, they'll fill in the blanks themselves, often harshly. They might decide they were naive, too sensitive, too hopeful. And that narrative can bleed into their identity. Maybe I'm just hard to love. Maybe I ask for too much. Maybe this is what I deserve. To the outside world, they still look composed and helpful. Internally, there's a tug-of-war between the truth, I was hurt, and the lie, it's all my fault. Because they'd rather fix themselves than start a fight, they stay quiet. They swallow the words they could have said. They make adjustments. They try to carry on. The cost is invisible but real. A little less light, a little more caution, a little less belief that people will handle their heart with care. Alongside that self-questioning comes an unmistakable energy shift. Before the injury, an INFJ's presence feels like a warm lamp, soft, attentive, quietly bright. Afterward, the warmth dims. Not to zero, not into cruelty, just into reserve. Replies get shorter. The smile is still there, but it doesn't reach as far. They listen, but they stop volunteering the deepest layers. They appear the same, but you can feel the glass between you. This is not manipulation. It's risk management. Instead of arguing, they cut emotional exposure. Instead of venting, they reduce access. They stop handing over the most tender parts of themselves until safety is re-established. People close to INFJs sense this but struggle to name it. Something's off, she seems different. What changed isn't the schedule or the behavior, it's the level of investment. The INFJ is no longer paying with their whole heart. They're paying with exact change. If repair happens, genuine responsibility taken, real listening, consistent care, the warmth returns in its own time. If repair doesn't happen, the reserve becomes normal. Not revenge. Not punishment. Just a new boundary formed by experience. Then the analysis deepens. INFJs always notice patterns, but after a hurt, the pattern hunting goes into overdrive. They become detectives in their own story. They scroll back through conversations, revisit old messages, and recall small moments you forgot the next day. They examine the wording, the pauses, the jokes that felt slightly sharp. Not because they want to obsess, but because they don't want to be blindsided again. Their intuition searches for a thread that makes the moment make sense. The problem is emotion can warp the lens. In the early stages of pain, even small moments can look like proof of something bigger. They might wonder if the sweet thing you said was sincere or strategic. They may ask themselves if that offhand comment 2 months ago was a warning they ignored. It's exhausting, and INFJs know it. But their mind keeps turning the puzzle until a picture appears. This overanalysis isn't about winning an argument. It's about protecting their future. If they conclude that the hurt was part of a pattern, they'll adjust how close they stand. If they conclude it was an outlier and they truly feel seen, they'll slowly relax their guard. Most of this calculus never gets spoken out loud. If you're not invited into their internal debrief, you won't hear it. You'll only feel the outcome. After the storms of silence and analysis comes something quieter and heavier: grief. Not always the sobbing kind, more like a steady ache. It's the sound of trust collapsing behind closed doors. It's the weight of realizing a story they believed in won't be written the way they hoped. That grief can last long after the event's over. INFJs often carry it privately. They still get up early. They still help people. They still show grace. And under all of that, they carry the softness that got hurt and the lesson that was learned. This grief shows up in subtle ways. They may be less quick to share good news. They may hesitate before revealing the vulnerable detail that once came easily. They may pull back affection not because love is gone, but because the cost of placing it in the wrong hands just got too high. If the hurt came from a person they loved deeply, the scar becomes part of their story. It doesn't freeze them in the past, but it does shape how they move. It's why so many INFJs feel older than their age. Not jaded, just seasoned. And then, often without warning, they surface. Not with fanfare. Not with a speech. With perspective. They don't live in the wound. They metabolize it. When they come out the other side, they're clearer. They see the dynamics of the relationship with new eyes. They see their own limits with more compassion. They see the pattern in a way that lets them choose instead of react. Sometimes they return with gentleness, offering clarity, asking for a different rhythm, giving forgiveness that frees both people. The generosity is real, but so are the limits. The goal isn't to reset to before, the goal is to build something honest. Other times, the resurfacing looks like distance. Calm, respectful, final. No rant. No smear campaign. Just a door that closes softly. They'll be kind if paths cross, but they won't resume intimacy. That decision is rarely impulsive. It's the last step in a long internal journey. If you've ever been surprised by an INFJ who seemed fine, and then stepped back for good, understand that the choice was made long before it was visible. The inner work was already finished. You're simply seeing the final chapter. What does the INFJ look like on the other side of this process? Different. Stronger in a quiet way. Less apologetic for their needs. More precise with their time. They say no without a 3-paragraph explanation. They stop over-functioning. They don't audition for closeness anymore, they invite it with standards. They give, but only where there's reciprocity. Their words are measured not because they're scared, but because they're intentional. Their presence feels grounded, like someone who knows the price of peace and is willing to pay it. If you're someone who hurt an INFJ and you want to mend it, here's what actually helps. Notice the silence and respond with care, not pressure. Ask what you missed and listen to the full answer. Don't argue with their experience. Own your part without watering it down. Repair isn't dramatic, it's consistent. It's making the choice, repeatedly, to handle their heart with gentleness and your words with honesty. If trust was broken, you don't earn it back with a single apology. You earn it by becoming someone trustworthy day after day. If you do, the INFJ's warmth can return, warmer, even, because it's now grounded in truth. If you love an INFJ and you see them retreat, don't panic. Give them space without abandoning them. A simple, "I'm here when you're ready," communicates safety without pressure. When they choose to talk, let them finish. Don't rush to fix the feeling. Don't debate the details. They've already rerun the scene in their mind 100 times. What they need isn't a defense, it's understanding. Validation doesn't mean agreeing with every interpretation, it means honoring the impact. That sense of being seen is what allows them to put down the armor. And if you're an INFJ hearing this, here's your reminder. Your depth is a gift, not a problem to solve. Your instinct to step back before you speak has protected a lot of good things in your life. But you don't have to carry all of the blame to keep the peace. Peace that costs you your self-respect isn't peace, it's quiet desperation. Your needs are not inconveniences. Your boundaries aren't punishments, they're instructions on how to love you well. Choosing yourself after being hurt is not cruelty. It's stewardship. So, what are the invisible steps, the ones no one sees? First, the retreat, a breathing space that looks like distance but feels like safety. Then the inward turn, questions that seek meaning but can accidentally bruise your worth. Then the energy shift, the warmth that dims not out of spite, but out of wisdom. Then the analysis, a forensic search for patterns to protect the future. Then the quiet grief, a soft ache carried with dignity. And finally, the resurfacing, a return not to how things were, but to who you are, with clarity, boundaries, and a calm strength that doesn't need to shout. If you've ever wondered why an INFJ seemed unchanged on the outside but never quite came back the same, this is why. Their pain doesn't throw them off course. It recalibrates the compass. They don't seek revenge. They seek understanding. And once they have it, they walk differently, lighter where there is safety, quieter where there isn't, and always with their integrity intact. Pay attention to the small changes. The slower replies. The shorter sentences. The smile that doesn't quite glow like it used to. That's the message. That's the moment to lean in, to ask with care, to listen without fixing, to repair with actions and time. INFJs don't want spectacle. They want sincerity. Give them that, and you don't just keep a relationship, you earn a deeper one than you had before. Thank you for watching. If this helped you understand an INFJ you care about, or your own INFJ heart, consider sharing it with someone who needs to hear it. And if you want more videos that peel back the quiet layers of personality and relationships, hit like, subscribe, and drop your thoughts below. Your story might be the one that helps someone else feel seen.